Welcome back to Conversation with Cardinal Dolan. I am Father Dave Dwyer, and we are joined right now by Andre and Angèle Regnier. They are the authors of Brick by Brick, Building a Strong Family That Won't Lose Their Faith in a Secular Culture. Welcome to Conversation with Cardinal Dolan, Andre and Angèle.
Thank you. This is a real honor. We're super happy to be here.
It's an honor for us, Andre and Angèle. Thank you. Thanks. Where are you coming from? Where are you? Where you're at home?
Ottawa, Ontario, just north of you a little bit. So.
Way to go! Way to go! We love you up there. I was fascinated by your book. You were kind enough to send it to me. I haven't read the whole thing, but I liked it. And let me see. Probably one of the reasons I liked it is because it was responding, Andre and Angèle, to a real challenge we have today. And let me see if I got this right. Namely, how to keep our faith and pass it on to our kids and celebrate it in a united family in a culture that doesn't like us and that has all these kind of contrary signals that would be working against that. I don't want to get too romantic here, but, I grew up in the 50s. There were problems back then. They weren't the good old days. But in general, culture encouraged the faith. In general, the values of the country, TV, neighbors, it kind of bolstered the faith. And but that's not true anymore. Pope St. John Paul II used the word countercultural. Now, to be sincere and fervent in our faith is really to be swimming upstream. Is that kind of, did I kind of capsulize the philosophy of the book?
Yeah, I think that's right, because the book is called Brick by Brick, and that's an allusion to John Paul II's address at World Youth Day 2002 in Toronto, where he called the young people of the world to build brick by brick the city of God inside the city of man. That there has to be a restoration of God's city, the kingdom of God, in the midst of what is secular society. And so that's what we were hanging on to here with this book title, is that brick by brick, kid by kid, family by family, let's build the city of God inside the city of man.
And what I get in the samples of your book that I pleasantly read is that one of your strategies is, you know what? If our kids are going to hold fast to the faith, they've got to kind of enjoy it. And they've got to they have to find out that it kind of affirms everything that's good and noble within them. That it's not the caricature of people who believe is these dour, mean, prejudicial, contrary people. You've got to create a culture within your home that says, no, that's not true. That's sort of your strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. We, from the very beginning, felt that we wanted our family to be an icon of what family should be in the context of living in the church. So that means we didn't want to be a family that was kind of on the defense, that we're afraid of the world, but we wanted to prepare our children to be a light to the world, to actually be influencers rather than being influenced. And so we wanted, for the world to know that the church to know that we actually have something worthy and what the world is longing for, and that is a strong, happy, well-adjusted family that raises up good children that become good citizens. And so we always had that in mind, that we're going to be the influencers, not the ones that are locking ourselves away from the world to protect our children.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost Andre. It's your book oozes what Pope Benedict used to say, that the church doesn't say no. The church says yes. Mm-hmm. The church sometimes says a no to another no, something that's negating the dignity of the human person or the sacredness of life. And when you say no to a no, guess what? You get a yes. So the church is in the business of yes. And that's what you're trying to talk to your kids about, right?
Yeah. Well, we wanted our children to know that.
How many do you have, by the way?
We have 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
And
Three are married,
3 are married.
and then we have 4 grandchildren and 1 on the way.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But we wanted our children to know that God is relevant, and that He is somebody that we can turn to in good times and in bad times. And so we wanted, to train them and to let them know that, God is somebody that you go to at all times. And it is a relationship that if I go to Him, He comes to me. That it's not just, I hope that if I knock enough that He'll eventually kind of wake up, but that He's relevant and He's there, and that we can always go to Him, and He's going to open up possibilities for our children. He's going to give us counsel. He'll give us peace. He'll give us clarity. So, we've always made the faith relevant and, moment by moment, rather than these big religious moments. We want the whole experience as a family to know that God is the one that we go to. And,
it really is a biblical worldview. You think of the people of Israel. You think of the New Testament, the Acts of the Apostles. What we ask ourselves, what you ask one another, and what you ask your kids is, what is normative for us in life? What guides us and directs us? What dominates? Beautiful word that comes from Dominus, meaning the Lord. Are we dominated by the values of culture? Or are we formed and dominated by God, by what God has revealed about Himself and about ourselves? And you're answering the latter, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, in the simplest of terms for our children, in the day, you remember the WWJD kind of fad that was going around?
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's such a clear way to help children navigate those decisions in life as we're forming them as disciples and followers of Jesus. Hey, 4-year-old, what would Jesus do right now? And it's such a simple and easy way
Beautiful.
to help form the children to be living that real relationship with God that is beyond just formal expectations.
Sure. I get the impression too in looking through the book that you would heartily agree with Pope St. John Paul II, who said, the church never imposes, the church proposes. It's a theology of invitation. God is inviting us. He does not coerce. He whispers His invitation and gives us the grace to follow it and gives us His mercy when we can't. That's a positive, uplifting, joyful odyssey, isn't it?
Well, actually, that's a really important point of the book, and I really believe it's really the disposition that will, or the invitation that is going to be the difference between our children embracing the faith or resisting it, and that is that we put the onus on them to take ownership. We've always spoken of our children. We presented the faith, proposed it. Of course, we're always active members of our parish, and we let them know kind of who the church, what the church is, and what it speaks of. But they're the ones that will choose it for themselves. And don't get me wrong, we didn't give them a lot of, too much freedom.
Not a very long leash,
but we always said that your relationship with God is something that you have to choose. But we gave them the ability to know how to choose. We didn't just say, well, you've got to just have faith, but we actually spoke to them because we are a movement similar to Focus down in the States, very much into evangelization. We're very much into, the charismatic presentation of the gospel and an invitation to respond. So it's a way we kind of brought our children up, is that you have to choose. And every one of my children, except, in the book, my youngest one is just navigating that, but all of them have made, a really decisive, intentional decision that they want to live their life for Jesus and in the church. And it was life transforming. It wasn't just, okay, that's good, glad, join the flock, but it was something that we celebrated, we remember, we acknowledge, we recognize. So it's a significant moment in their life.
Don't sell yourself short. Pope Francis tells us that the way we win people over is by joy and love. And I think your kids, even though they're never going to give you the satisfaction of telling you, they want to be like you. They say, we want to kind of be like mom and dad. They got something special. They've raised us well. We want to pass that on to our kids. That's how the faith is transmitted, and that's brick by brick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you've done us a favor. This is good. I got it. Brick by Brick, folks, is the name. And Andre and Angèle Regnier, Regnier. What's your movement? Can you give us a website or something if people want to learn more about your excellent work?
Yes, thank you. It's www.cco.ca. So that's
CCO, Catholic Christian Outreach. Thank you both for joining us.
We got to keep them in mind for some of our days here. Thank you both. We love you. God bless you.
Your Eminence, coming up, very exciting, brand new YouTube channel with
right
Ed Sullivan.
here.
You remember, you got it. I knew you'd say that. All right, Andrew Salt and Vince Calandra will tell us about Ed Sullivan for the new generation. So keep it on the Catholic channel, SiriusXM 129.